tell the guys, we're thin but mighty. Anybody that's ever asked about our program over the last few years, I've been saying the same thing. And
Princeton's always been a tough football team. One thing about us is we're going to play tough. We love to hit. Hitting is like preached, and it's like the gospel in Princeton.
I don't want to have all these rules and all these things that you got to try and memorize. Just the word all in. All in.
There was a lot of, lessons being learned. But I got a group of guys who want it, and the biggest thing is sometimes they just don't know how.
It was certainly emotional, no doubt about it. It always is between us and Ocean City.
I don't like losing. The kids don't like losing. And I don't want to lose to the same team over and over and over again. We want to win a state championship.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Cal One-on-One right here on Cape Atlantic Live, presented by Ulmer's Appliance Service. I'm your host, Nick Kosko, as we roll on with our basketball preview series ahead of the 2024-25 season. With me tonight is John Arcidiacono of Absegami High School. Of course, John, good to talk to you again. Season is right around the corner, 24 hours now, 24 hours from now, I should say. What's it been like for your team preparing? I know you guys are coming off a big 20-win season last year, looking to maybe take that next step forward here this winter.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for all the work you guys do for the league. I know a lot of coaches echoed that, and it's definitely true. For this season, definitely going to be a different season for us. We have 3 starters returning, but the kind of core group of guys from last year, especially Isaiah and Charles, who had been with me for my first 3 years, are now gone. So we have to remake our identity a little bit. Like I said, we do have those 3 returning starters and a good amount of newcomers that I think are going to help us out this year. So just trying to get those pieces together is the priority right now.
When you talk about getting those pieces together and I guess just trying to find that new identity, what kind of identity do you want to transition from last year to this year? Is it more of a finesse type of identity? Is it more physicality? What are you exactly looking for this season with this core group of guys?
Yeah, so I think some of the same tenets are still going to stay. We're still going to push and transition. We're still going to be physical. We're still going to try and attack the rim, pound it inside, get it to our bigs. We still got a couple of really good bigs this year that we're gonna get the ball as much as possible. But then like you do every year, you add in some new components. We got a few more things, a few more wrinkles, some more structure on offense, and a little bit of a change on defense. So just trying to mesh what we as a coaching staff feels the best winning strategy for this group of guys.
So you've been here for a handful of years now. You just mentioned the seniors that graduated last year that were with you for those first 3 years, and they kind of built that identity for Absegami basketball, and you guys steadily improved each year. So when you're coming off a 20-win season like you were last year, making to the South Jersey Group 3 playoffs, 1-1 in a deep Cal tournament last year, what can you build off of last year? Is it simply just the experience you guys got, winning 20 games, a little bit of both? What was the main message going into the offseason to say, all right, this is what we're going to do to take this next step this season?
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys, and myself included, were not satisfied with the way the season ended. We lost a pretty close game to Ocean City in the Cal tournament quarterfinals. Obviously, they had a historic season over there last year. So we were really upset. We almost had that one, and then we took a loss to Cherry Hill West in the state tournament, who had a really good team as well. So it just kind of left a bad taste in our mouth, especially after 2 years prior we had won a couple state tournament games and got into the semifinals. So, the regular season wins are great. We set the school record last year for wins. We'd love to top that again this year. But I think ultimately we want to compete for a Cal and then a Group 3 championship as well.
Some of the guys that you have back, you mentioned the core group, a lot of seniors, Jamal Davis, Donald Johnson, and Jay Burrows as well. Those guys all scored a lot of points for you last year, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Keon Nelson's. I've seen some of your guys' social media work, and Keon Nelson's already a human highlight reel, it seems like. So is that really your core group of guys? Are you going to be very senior heavy this year? Are there some other guys that maybe other people are missing in terms of maybe sophomores or juniors, or is it going to be mostly those 4 guys you're going to rely on and then fill in the pieces around them?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wish it wasn't the case, but our rotation's still a little bit in flux. We've had some injuries. We've had some different things, weird things happen. So we're still trying to figure that out. But, we'll have those 3 guys, Donald, Jay, and Jamal, have been through it with me for 4 years. They're going to play big roles this season. We have 4 transfers, including Keon Nelson, who unfortunately is going to have to sit 30 days. But, when he comes back, he'll fit right into the, rotation. Freshman that could potentially work his way in. Couple juniors. Adam Lee is a big one that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention. He should have a monster year and should start for us once he comes back from getting over a concussion. So a couple other guys in that junior class and in even sophomore class that can definitely work their way into rotation. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works its way out.
Did you notice any type of team chemistry that was maybe even better than last year's? I know you mentioned you had a couple seniors that were with you through this entire run, but now some of these seniors have been with you literally their entire run now at Absegami. So when you talk about team chemistry, have you noticed that just getting better and better, I guess, year to year that you've noticed with these guys under your watch?
I'd say yes and no. We started off with this team in the summer. We played over at the Stockton camp, played 8 games there. Did some different tournaments and games throughout the summer, and it was rough at points. We were losing games I didn't think we should be losing. We were not playing good basketball. Chemistry was not there. But as things progressed into the fall league, we did a fall league in Ocean City, and now into the scrimmages. Like you said, these guys have been gelling. They're kind of getting used to, okay, this is our team now. This isn't, the Isaiah and Charles show, which it was a little bit at times last year. Okay, now Donald and Jay and Jamal and Keon and all these other guys, Adam, this is your team. So now we got to make it, in your image, and they've day by day, week by week been coming along, and it's starting to look good. So I'm excited.
I know Keon is a transfer. He's coming on in, new to the program, so to speak. A lot of these guys have been playing with each other for quite a while, whether it's just in high school or whether they were playing with each other in Galloway youth basketball leagues or however the case may be. When you see a guy like Keon transfer and provide that extra spark to your program and to your team, did it take him a little bit to gel with the guys, or was he one of those instant impact guys where you're just like, okay, we can maybe do something special now that he's maybe not necessarily the missing piece, but an additional piece for us this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely took a little bit of conditioning and getting used to, for sure, with our guys and gelling with our guys. But, if these guys can play and these guys can learn and listen, we can make it work. I have a great staff. They do a lot. And not just with Keon, we also, kid James, sophomore, transferred over from Holy Spirit, is going to help us this year. Then 2 juniors, kid Jericho Thomas and Bobby Peterson, transferred in from a couple local Christian schools, and they're also going to definitely help us this year. So everyone's coming along, and I'm excited to see what this thing can look like as a finished product.
I'm glad you mentioned your staff. Being at the school now for a handful of years and being the head coach, I guess taking over in a new spot, new environment, new league, and now you're pretty much used to it. You've seen some runs out of your teams, especially the last couple of years. Running into top teams like Ocean City, you're seeing a team like Cherry Hill. So now you're kind of more used to the area in terms of the Cape Atlantic League, and now making some playoff runs with a team that is now on the rise a little bit. What kind of credit can you give to your staff and helping you out, and how you basically dictate, all right, this is what we're going to do in practice with this group, and this is what we're going to do with this group, and how you guys manage them off the court as well?
Yeah, so this is year 4. My staff is actually completely different than it was my first year. I don't have anybody held over. Coach Goodwin, Greg Goodwin, kind of a local legend, passed away, recently, unfortunately, so he will not be with us on the sidelines this year. But I give him a ton of credit for shaping this program, and me as a coach for sure. But I got 3 great assistant coaches. One also coaches JV. They help me do a lot of stuff in practice, whether it be skill breakdown groups. One of my coaches helps me run the defense. So these guys are so important. I can't stress it enough. And, your head coach is only as good as its staff. So you really need a great coaching staff. And I personally feel we have one of the best coaching staffs in South Jersey. So I'm glad to have them with me for sure.
I'm glad you brought up Coach Goodwin, because I know you mentioned he was a giant in South Jersey, a giant at Absegami. What did he mean to you, especially when you first walked in and first met him? Just like, hey, I'm John, and he's Greg. What was that like, and what did he mean to you as maybe on and off the court as a coach, and you're just a person in general?
Yeah, I mean, I took over the program at 23 years old, no head coaching experience, so I'm walking in. I mean, I know basketball, but I don't have a clue how to run a varsity program. And, here's Coach Goodwin, who's been there, done it all, seen it all. And I asked him, if he had any interest in helping me out. And he did, thank God, because he helped me navigate the ship in a lot of situations that a young head coach wouldn't be expected to know. But because of his experience and wisdom, we were able to navigate a lot of things early on, and in my tenure that I definitely would not have been able to do without him. So just an awesome guy, huge personality, great basketball mind, and yeah, he'll be sorely missed on and off the court for sure.
So Absegami does have a lot of sports history when it comes to basketball, wrestling, football, you name it. There's a lot of history for a school like that that's been around for so long in this area. When you think about the overall history of Absegami basketball, what you guys have accomplished in the last 3 years, now going into year 4, I know you alluded to already setting the school record for wins in a season with 20 last year, and now that can only be broken by, it seems like, you and your staff and your guys. When you think about your guys' place in history already and what you can do you talk to the kids about that? Do you only talk to your staff about that, or do you kind of keep that internal and just be like, you know what, let's not worry about that right now. Let's just focus on, the next day, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely bring that up all the time. I mean, we set the goals at the beginning of the year as a team, and that was one of the goals last year. We wanted to break the wins record, which we had actually set the previous year in my second year. We won 18 games. We broke it again last year, 20 games. We want to break it again this year, hopefully more. We also wanted to get a home Cal playoff game, which we've never had in school history, which we did accomplish. We wanted to win a Cal playoff game, which we've never done in school history, which we accomplished with a great double overtime over St. Joe's. So, there's now the next set of goals. We want a home state playoff game. That's a big goal for us this year. I'd love to compete for a championship. Obviously winning's the ultimate, but not a lot of people get to play in a championship game in their life. So just to go and compete and be in that environment, that in and of itself, such a great experience. And that's now where our aims are set for this year. And we definitely let the kids know that's what we're going for.
I am intrigued by your development as a head coach. You mentioned before you were, when you took over, you were 23 years old, didn't have head coaching experience at the high school level, and you're kind of wide-eyed. Coach Goodwin helped you out. Your staff obviously helped you out, and you have developed along with the kids. Have you noticed a development in your own coaching style, maybe how you approach things now going into year 4 compared to year 1? I got to imagine it's not just like go, go, go. I mean, what have you noticed personally in your coaching growth from year 1 now over to year 4?
Yeah, I mean, they say you don't know what you don't know until you know, and that was the case. I thought I knew a lot as a first-year coach, and I was going to do all these things, and now year 4, I'm looking back, I'm like, I had no idea what I was doing, year 1. And so, I'm just, I'm addicted to basketball. I'm addicted to winning. So everything I do is geared towards learning and improving as a coach. And, a lot of that, it comes from, you can read all the articles and whatever you want, but having conversations with coaches who have been there, like Coach Goodwin, a lot of coaches in the Cape Atlantic have shared a lot of information and wisdom with me. Talk a lot with Coach Bruno this summer, working with him. Coach Rodeo at the prep has been awesome. Had me out to lunch, just talking basketball, and conversations like that mean a lot and go a long way for me as a guy who's just starting my career to really grow as a coach and learn.
Before I piggyback off that, I'm actually interested in the fact that you had conversations with, now the current Cal Giants and John Bruno and Coach Rodeo. Without giving away, intimate details of the conversation, was there like a wide-eyed moment when they were talking basketball or life about you? You mentioned you went to lunch with Coach Rodeo, you worked with Coach Bruno this summer. Was there one of those moments where you're just like, wow, that was a really enlightening thought or conversation, or even just a moment?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you talk to these guys and they've been doing it for, however many years, 30, 40, 50 years and won and set all sorts of records. And Coach Rodeo's won 1,000 games. And it's like, how do you even wrap your head around that? But yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that we were talking about is like never even crossed my mind, and they're talking to me like, oh yeah, this is just what we do. This is simple, or this is whatever. So it wakes you up, and honestly, a lot of it is just getting back to the basics and fundamental basketball, and doing the little things right, and just being professional and working hard, and if you can do all that, then all the other crazy stuff you see or you want to do doesn't really mean as much if you can just consistently year in, year out, play hard, play defense, shoot the ball well, and that's how you win basketball games.
Circling back to your development as a coach, is it? I mean, I got to imagine it's probably pretty cool because taking over as a first-time head coach, you're still young in the game, but then you see this group of freshmen that are now seniors, or in the case of last year, guys that were with you for 3 years. Was it kind of cool to say, I'm growing with these guys, like you're developing as a coach, and at the same time, what you're doing to help the kids is turning them into better students and better basketball players as they go from freshman to sophomore, junior, now to senior year?
Yeah, I mean, it's confidence thing for me just as much as it is for the kids. I want to see that what I'm doing is working, and I want to have the confidence that my developmental program's working, or my offensive scheme is working, or my defensive strategy is working, whatever, you can go 1,000 things, but, and as I figure out each one of those, I guess, areas of my coaching, expertise or whatever you want to call it, once I can figure out, okay, I'm doing the skill development right, now I can start to focus on another area where maybe I need to improve. So, okay, skill development's going great. Let me start focusing on my scouting and game planning, and how can I improve that for next year? So, as you can see the successes build and things start to work more and more as you grow as a coach, it really helps paint a clearer picture, I think, of what needs to be improved on from year to year.
I'll leave you here with this, and you guys do open up tomorrow at Oak Crest. Again, Greater Egg Harbor regional rival. When you talk about the expectations for Absegami this year, I know we're kind of circling back to it again here, but breaking the school record, hosting playoff games, hosting Cal games, trying to win tournaments, trying to win a South Jersey title, maybe a state title down the line. When you give these kids the expectations, and every coach is going to say, all right, here's the expectations, but we have to get here first. One practice at a time, one game at a time, stuff along those lines. How do you get that message across to the kids without saying, this is too much on my shoulders and your shoulders? How do you necessarily toe that line as you go throughout what is going to be a long season here?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to set the big goal for sure, but it's not something we're going to harp on, all season. It's process over outcome, right? And you probably heard a lot of coaches say that, but we've got, whatever it is on our plate for that day, what we want to get accomplished, and that's the focus. And we can only look so far ahead, but in the back of our mind, we have that goal, and we have that motivation to get to whatever it is, the Cal final, state final, and so as much as you want to say, okay, day by day, of course, yeah, but we got to win games now if we want to be playing in a home playoff game in February. We got to put in the work now and get everything implemented and progressed now if we want to be playing for a championship in February, So it's definitely day by day, but it's in the back of our minds, and I think it has to be.
John Arcidiacono with me here on Cal 101, Absegami High School basketball coach. Coach, good luck this year. Looking forward to watching you guys either in Galloway or on the road, wherever we might find you. And I can only imagine based on those Instagram highlights so far, I think Absegami is going to be bringing a lot of high-flying excitement to the Cape Atlantic League this year.
Yeah, you can count on it.
All right, Cal 101 presented by Ulmer's Appliance Service right here on Cape Atlantic Live. I'm Nick Kosko. We'll see you next time.